Pretty Little Liars, the book series, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Hello and welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we have the first half of the third Pretty Little Liars book for you.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's the name of the book. He was not just saying that I introduced it well.
Well, you did. You did it so well.
Thank you. I was perfect.
You know, we're starting on the second half of the character arcs.
I'm so bored.
They should put it... Because it's just going to be that, I'm sure by the fourth, they'll finish what should have been the first book in terms of character development.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind you spreading out, like, the A mystery over 4 books, but, like... Good
Give
Lord.
Give me something. Anything, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't even come up with a 3-sentence summary for this. I don't know.
Oh, God. Especially these first few chapters where they're, like, really going over the what happened in the previous book. And it's like, damn, I know you churned these out, and it's okay. I know that we have these available just immediately, but, like, we don't need to go this slow. Like, let's have a little faith in the teens.
Or that they could reread the book. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you can't remember what happened, like, it's like when you get like a new season of a TV show, they'll do like a previously on, but it's like 2 minutes.
Yeah, or you at least get there's better ways of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this is it's only because we're like now in 3 books deep, but this has the most progression of the characters so far. Like, things are actually happening to push the characters to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're now 500 some odd, probably 600 some odd pages into this whole series.
571 according to my Kindle. I'm on page 571 of the first 3 books.
It's just like, come on. And I was thinking about YA in general. And it's like, I don't think I ever really read a lot of YA where there wasn't a like fantasy or something attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
But which, you know, like I was like, okay, does that mean I don't like, is that the reason I'm not liking this? It's like, no, but those have like arcs where they do things, stuff happens, and they learn things.
You like YA television though.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
But you want to see the characters grow. You want to see them have to face things, become,
or if they're not going to grow, you want to see them like really like
have consequences,
hit some walls. Yeah, exactly. And instead, it's just like Aria's parents are awful.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer's parents are awful.
Yep.
Hannah's parents are awful.
Yep.
And Emily's parents are awful.
Mm-hmm.
You
could cut out Spencer and Hannah from these books, and I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Aria is like on the fence. Again, Emily is the only one that has an interesting arc going on.
Well, and it's Aria's driving a plot line that I assume will come back around with the whole, dating her teacher thing.
I think the Sean stuff, like her going to the family and stuff, like that's interesting.
Yeah, but we're not
gotten that a few books ago.
Spending a lot of time with that either.
No, it'll be like. It's showing that like she doesn't fit, which I mean, we'll talk about that more anyway. But like at least that's like something. With Hannah, I always like felt I feel bad when we in these like book episodes. It's like, yeah, we kind of like talk about Hannah for 2 minutes and then we move on, but it's like there's nothing to talk about.
No, show Hannah. Excellent.
Yeah, I know.
Funny.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best.
Exactly. Ashley Benson brings a lot.
Well, and I think also when this was adapted, they really focused on creating these characters, like these cornerstone characters.
It's just, you have to come up with different things for when you're making 22
Yeah, like Toby's
episodes.
already dead.
Right. And I mean, that's fine, but like, again, we're not left to sit with any of the things that he done. It's just like, everybody's just like, good God, like Emily's feeling sad about this still. But then she's not even really feeling sad about it in these chapters?
No.
Because she's got so much other shit going on. So
yeah, her sneaking off with Maya but hiding it.
Yeah, which I think is good. And then A outing her, which I think is also good.
As a plot line.
Exactly. Great. Yeah, I think other people should push people to be outed all the time. No. It's an interesting thing for the character to have to deal with.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's a better story than a lot of what we're getting.
Yeah,
it's also like when you got to compare to what we got, which is like Hannah, who is in the throes of an eating disorder forever.
Mm-hmm. We get less of that.
You know what? Like really, like mental health wise, Hannah is eating disorder.
Yeah.
Emily's OCD.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer's anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Is Aria? What's Aria?
Aria's also anxiety, I think.
Yeah, hers is anxiety, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
But
I think they're also trying with the Spencer stuff. With Spencer in this book, trying to be more like, oh, is Spencer also have these violent? Like she's violent.
Violent, yeah.
I mean, throwing the A suspicion on there. So
yeah, because they're like, well, what was she doing alone with Allie?
Right, and there's a comment in there where like she had a fight with Melissa and she threw a plate across the room. Mm-hmm. Just little stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, that's fine. I think if we didn't already know where that was going, that'd be maybe a little bit more interesting. But also the A stuff really, it's more in this book, but it's also not as exciting. Yeah, just, I can't help but compare it to the other like YA books I've read, like, and maybe at this point too, that series, drawing out a series like this, it's kind of like I maybe prefer something a little bit more self-contained, or just.
I just burnt my mouth on my tea. It's fine. Just ignore me.
Like, it's the peppermint tea bad?
No, it's just hot.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like the most recent probably YA books I've read are like Earthsea, and those are all like self-contained. Ged faces his shadow, like makes a big mistake, has to face his mistakes. Tanar goes through, realizes like the trap that society has placed her in, and makes a choice about what to do about that. I forget the boy in the last one, but it's like all self-contained on these journeys for these first couple books. So it's like, we're just really dragging this out.
Yeah. I mean, like Golden Compass was all pretty like there's an arc for each book.
Yeah, and you don't need the fantasy setting, but just give us an arc. We want to see the characters grow and change. And right now, that's being spread across 4 books.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to take a crack at a 3-sentence summary? I'm just gonna.
I just go for it because, like, I don't even. It's like. So you read so many words and so little happens that it's kind of like just watching water rush through like a funnel.
I'll give a crack here. The friends all think A is gone and are all not friends anymore.
Yeah, there's no friendship in these books.
No.
This is not a story of girls that are... That's what I think the show does that this doesn't, is it's a story of friendship in the show.
Yeah.
These girls are friends and like learning how to re-navigate friendship. Whereas this one feels like these girls don't like each other.
No.
Or they're afraid to be near each other.
Yep.
And they're not gonna get past that.
Nope, doesn't seem like it. Yeah, and like we brought up last time,
it's a different dynamic. And if they were a little meaner, it would be more interesting.
Hannah's way meaner in this book.
But if they were all meaner, it would be more interesting because then you'd have like actual fighting.
Yeah, between each other, yeah.
And like so then it'd be like we're stuck together out of necessity. Like a forced proximity relationship almost in a sense. Like we're stuck together because we are all the victims of this one thing and we have to work together, but we are not friends. And we will not be friends and we will not end as friends. And I think on the show, the friendship is such like a cornerstone of it that like this feels very foreign and wrong. Yep. Sorry, back to your 3-sentence summary.
Right. It was just going to add on to that. Like we talked last time, it's they're all having their individual stories. But second sentence. The friend find out that A is in fact still around and that the police want to question them more to find out more about Allison. Sentence 3. Emily gets outed and then the other friends decide, like, have a semi-truce to try and band together to figure out what's going on. There's a lot more. There's a lot of different stuff that happens, but again, it's all individual storylines.
Yeah, I think it's like A is sabotaging all of their lives. Emily bears the brunt of it. Will they be friends?
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Well, that and like the scene I remember the most vividly is the Ezra telling Aria to not sit on Sean's bumper or whatever, like that it was bad for the suspension on the car.
Yeah, we got some other stuff. Why I didn't say to get rid of Aria's, it says there's a few things I find funny in there.
Yeah. I think what I like about Aria would be a fun character if there was just a book about Aria and you could really dig into her head, because she's like your manic pixie dream girl, and like it's very of the time. Like you're like, oh, that'd be fun and quirky.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, it's like she's give
very
like
not like other girls.
Yeah, we give, and like I think it'd be fun to watch a character who's like, I'm not like other girls, like absolutely get like just clobbered by that, because like it's that's not who you want to be, and like you are exactly like other girls, because like it's kind of how the world works.
But Aria, being like, God, I'm stuck in this provincial town.
Yes, in her Belle era.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be
she
really
loves
fun
books.
And interesting. Exactly.
Okay. Let's kick off the full summary here. So, toward the end of 7th grade, the friends had a sleepover. Allie has steadily grown apart from the friends and holds on to their after the Jenna thing, and holds on to their secrets, but doesn't reciprocate. When she goes to the bathroom, the friends all try to see who she was mysteriously texting, but can't get into her phone. This whole time, Aria is filming them for a fake. She's just filming them all the time at this point in her life.
Yeah, she's in her documentary era.
Yeah, she's in her NAT club era. Melissa. That's what I thought. I'm like, I wonder if this is going. That's where they're just pulling from. No, she just was in her documentary era. Melissa and Ian come in, and Ian spends extra time hanging with the friends because he's a creep and likes attention. Then the book hints that the girls all suspected Spencer of killing Allison. It's 3 weeks.
The end.
Yep. Back in the present. It's 3
weeks.
We
end.
It's 3 weeks after book 2, and Spencer is going to therapy at the behest of her parents. She's worried about the therapist because they're also Melissa's, but ends up really liking her. When she leaves her session, her mom is waiting to tell her that Squidward wants to nominate her for the Golden Orchid Essay Contest.
Squidward is a teacher.
Yes, her teacher, Squidward. She realizes, her teacher, Squidward. She realizes it's for the stolen essay that she submitted. Hannah makes a crack about Aria stealing Sean in English class. As Aria leaves, she has an awkward interaction with Fitz, where she falls into him and he holds her. Hannah and Mona are reunited and planning their parties for their friendiversary and Mona's 17th. Emily's mom doesn't know how to deal with Emily after Toby's death. Emily and Maya have started meeting secretly at the river to make out. Maya wants to be public with their relationship, but Emily says she isn't ready. Maya tells Emily there's a stalker on the loose.
I completely forgot about the Emily's other, like, her whole plotline with her parents.
Oh, yeah.
That, I think, would have been the bigger, like, for me and my 3-sentence summary had been like, Emily's parents find out she's gay, try to send her away, or tell her she has to stop.
Yeah, the thing with the 3-sentence summary is, like, trying to encapsulate what's going across all these different storylines.
But I think that's what's the only thing that's driving the story right now. It's like,
right?
Emily's like, we have to figure this out, because, like, my life is being ruined.
Yeah. In terms of actual importance of what is happening is, Emily is secretly meeting with Maya, but not ready to be out and gay. Emily gets outed by A, and then her parents try to send her to gay conversion, and she goes along with it and thinks maybe that it could fix her.
Yeah.
That's like the actual meat and potatoes of this.
Which is so sad.
It is. It's really sad. We'll talk about that more later. Aria waits for Sean in the parking lot, and Fitz comes over to be creepy. Sean and Aria then drive away, and she gets a text from Byron asking to meet him at Hollis while he waits for Meredith. Aria decides she has to act now, so she gets dropped off at Hollis and goes to Meredith's classroom and paints a big red A on her because she's been reading the Scarlet Letter. Spencer noticed Melissa at her field hockey practice and finds out she's back together with Ian. Ian still weirdly flirts with Spencer and stops her alone to tell her how good at field hockey she is. Hannah arrives home to find all her old friends and Wilden at her house. He's there to interview them about Allison. He asks what secret Toby knew and how Allison was acting before she disappeared. He warns them all that the news got an old home video of them all. Hannah gets a call from Mona because she's late to friendiversary, and Mona completely understands why all the friends are at Hannah's house and is pissed. I hate these tropes. While Wilden steps away from the table, Hannah and Aria get in a fight, and Emily says they have to come clean to the police. They all then receive a text from A saying they're still around. Aria comes home and sees Michelangelo watching the news. On the news, there's the old video from the very first chapter of the book of the friends trying to break into Ali's phone. Michelangelo hears Allison's joke about Byron to Aria and gets upset and leaves the room, realizing that Aria has known a long time about her father's affair.
Only after being creepy about how hot Spencer is.
Oh, yes.
That whole section, he's just so creepy.
Mm-hmm. He's just talking nonstop about it.
Mm-hmm.
Ella comes home and Aria Michelangelo, later in my summary here, you will see when he loses his himbo license. Ella comes home and Aria tells her about the painting the A on Meredith. Ella breaks down crying and Aria's like, I can go live somewhere else. Spencer wonders about the night Allison disappeared and the feeling that she's forgetting something. She has a vision of the night Allison disappeared of Allie laughing at her. In econ class, Squidward announces her Golden Orcus finalist slot. Spencer gets a text from A saying they know what she did and she has to go to Emily's swim meet. Emily's having a great swim meet when she notices people are acting weird towards her. She finds that everyone, including her parents, have copies of her photo booth kiss with Maya. Picture copies. Aria tries to tell her it's nothing to be ashamed of, but Emily runs away. The other three friends meet outside the swim meet. Hannah has homophobic worries about Emily. Spencer runs off and Michelangelo comes over to be a dick. He loses his himbo license or status by being misogynistic. He reveals Aria is staying at Sean's and Hannah leaves angry. Aria goes home with Sean and loves how caring his family is and how rich they are. She goes to her guest room and finds an email from A asking if Sean should know about her and the teacher. She sees on the news that there's a new stalker sighting and sees police lights out the window. She goes to Sean's room and finds him gone and the window open. She finds another email from A saying that they're not the killer, but they're closer than Aria thinks.
Do you think Sean's the stalker?
Yeah, absolutely. That was like my thought as soon as he was out there. Either that or Batman. Hannah sees Mona, but his parents are still alive, so that takes him out of the running for that.
Well, just one, because remember, it's his stepmom.
Oh, that's true. What a twist on an old story. Hannah sees Mona having lunch with Naomi and Riley, Hannah's bullies. Mona is mean to Hannah, and Hannah thinks Mona is faking being friends with them because she always hated them. Mona and the others leave the restaurant, and Lucas, a dork at school, asks Hannah to pay the bill. He works at the restaurant. Hannah gets a text from Mona to catch up to them and a message from A for her to not trust her old friends or Mona. Emily comes home to find a gay conversion counselor and her parents. They're forcing her to participate in Treetops, gay conversion therapy, or they'll send her away to live with her aunt in Des Moines. Emily breaks down.
Which to me was like the strangest of two options. Go to conversion camp or go live with your aunt in Iowa?
Well,
because there's no lesbians in Iowa?
You won't see any women in Iowa.
Like I was like, oh, what's her aunt like?
I don't know anything about Des Moines, but it's like trying to make it sound like that it's the most remotest. It's like as if you're going to say, like, I'm going to send you to a remote cabin in Alaska.
Yeah, but she's going to live with her aunt. Like, there's still people there.
Right.
I just think it's weird. I mean, like, I think, like, all of it is awful. But, like, you're just like, okay.
Maybe the aunt is, like, super religious or something.
Yeah.
And is even more strict than the parents.
Maybe.
That Mrs. Fields. Damn cookies. Spencer gets a text from A while she's staring in the mirror, telling her Allie's murder is right in front of her. Ha ha ha. She has a partial flashback of Allison laughing meanly on the night that this is part of the same vision that she had earlier, laughing meanly and saying, "You didn't read it in my diary." Spencer doesn't know the full contents of this memory. She goes downstairs and meets the newspaper crew to interview her. They fawn all over her and tell her she's going to be on the front page of the paper. She finds a note from A in a garment bag threatening to expose her secret. Hannah remembers in 7th grade going to see Romeo and Juliet and Allison being angry with Spencer about hanging around older boys and then breaks down crying. In the present, Hannah is excited to show Mona the skywriting that she bought for her, but it reads "Get ready to fart with Mona" instead of "Get ready to party with Mona," making Mona mad and uninviting Hannah. Hannah then looks back up and sees a letter A. Emily gets a lot of attention from guys at school now. Maya talks to her in private excitedly, and Emily breaks up with her. Emily goes to meet with Becca from Treetops and immediately asks all sorts of questions about being gay. She then decides that while Becca seems miserable, Treetops might work for her. Sean and Aria ride bikes, and she gets...
The eternal optimist.
Mm-hmm. Well, it might work for me. Sean and Aria ride bikes, and she gets him to stop at St. Basil's cemetery. She accidentally stumbles upon Allison's the open grave that they dug up to for the police to then exhume her body and freaks out. She also starts to find Sean's self-seriousness off-putting. Spencer has a good therapy session where Dr. Evans diagnoses that both sisters are in a lot of pain competing with one another for love. She then goes, hey, let's hypnotize you, and Spencer is transported back to the night Allison disappeared. Allison accuses Spencer of taking everything from her, but she's not going to take this last thing, and Spencer's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She doesn't make out the final words between Allison and her. Outside the therapist's office, she sees someone hiding across the street. Hannah is having a horrible time at school now that Mona hates her. She tries to talk with her, but Mona brushes her off. She's upset and accidentally goes into the boys' bathroom. Lucas is in there and promises to cheer her up tomorrow. Hannah finds a note on her back from A saying Mona got liposuction. The end.
Like, that just should not have been 200 pages.
No.
Or 180. I don't know, whatever it was.
160 something in my book.
It just was too much.
Yeah. So we've been saving the best for last, but why don't we just start with Emily this?
Okay.
Yeah. I like that Emily can't fully be. She wants to have her cake and eat it too.
Oh yeah. She is not ready to really own who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, my bug bite is really itchy. And she also is afraid to be that, but also like won't tell her parents this is who I am, and isn't comfortable telling herself this is who I am.
Mm-mm.
And she's also like the conversation she has with the who's the girl from Treetops, Becca is very illuminating, because it's Emily going, okay, well, you were able to have this relationship and now still be friends with the girl. So like I could keep Maya as a friend, as if like that's applicable.
Right.
Outside of whatever dynamic Becca had with her friend. Yeah.
And it's like that they're friendly now. It's Emily's kind of seeing what she wants to see, because Becca's like, well, we don't like really talk anymore, but like, we're friends.
Yeah. Like we're friendly. So like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm. So Emily's like, maybe I can do this and still be straight like my parents wanted, and then everything will work out.
Yeah, where it's easier.
And then I don't have to go to Des Moines.
Yeah. I do wonder, I don't know Sarah Shepard's sexuality, nor would I want to assume, but it does feel a little too one-dimensional, I think, still. Like, I wish there was more to, like, really, like, Emily's thought process and how she's feeling, and, like, the really conflicting emotions of, like, I very much know who I am and what I want, but I am not capable of acting on that. And like, I'm not comfortable acting on that, or like, I'm not comfortable admitting that to myself.
Mm-hmm. Like the self-loathing and the shame, because it's all buried deep at the moment.
Yeah. I don't necessarily like not self-loathing and shame, just like that literal inability to like, almost like cognitive dissonance. She's got like a cognitive dissonance between who she is and what she wants, and then how she can perceive herself in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't quite make it work, and she keeps trying to make it work. And like, I just wish we could see that better.
Yeah, I get you. I get what you mean.
Like, I think it would be a really, like, it would be a better story.
Mm-hmm. A little bit more powerful there.
But also, we just don't have enough time, because we have to go to the next person.
Right. Yeah, we're exactly. That really like shortchanges Emily and everybody else, because we have all the different perspectives we have to hit in a short book.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, just got to move it along.
And yet nothing happens, and everything happens.
Right. At least with Emily, it's the part with Becca especially too, where it's like just like, oh my god, like this is so nice to have someone to talk to when she's just talking at Becca. It's just like, oh, what was it like? When did you know? Like all these questions. That part seems very authentic of like, oh, I finally met someone else that's like me.
Yes.
That's non-romantic. So like her thing with Maya is like, that's a partner, that's a potential interest. Like, in the courting phase, you still act like very differently about these things.
Yeah. Whereas like and I think it's interesting. She's like, how did you know you liked girls, basically? And it's like kind of ignoring the fact that like allegedly with Treetops, Becca doesn't like girls. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a good insight into Emily, but I just wish there was more.
Yeah. She talks Becca's ear off, and it's that Becca is like some sort of authority, like coming from some place of authority. Like, oh, well, you must like completely understand what like being gay if you're part of this conversion thing of like how to turn it off. You must have a like innate understanding of sexuality.
Exactly. Because you were able to overcome it in like a sense, even though like that's not how that works.
No, not at all. So it's like you must have really like dug deep and like grappled with this, even though Becca is extremely, supremely uncomfortable by all the questions about it because she went through conversion therapy.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see where this goes. Absolutely, it should absolutely be criminal.
It's absolutely awful.
And also like pulling it in here, it does seem very like ripped from the headline. So I'm interested to see where it lands and how we'll feel about it. But at least right now, we're working in soapland, so it
and it's a works. YA novel, and there's a lot of like you can give a lot of leeway to that. But I'm like, oh, that would have been like a really meaty place to dig in.
Absolutely. And the ups and downs that she has to deal with Maya, the conflict of Maya Maya feeling like horrible and used.
Not used, but like used. Maya wants to have a relationship, and Maya's comfortable with who Maya is now. And so Maya understands where Emily's coming from, but also needs something more.
Absolutely.
And I think that's
so that like when we start out with them, like it shows that Emily has a good reason to be afraid. I think the reader kind of gets that idea, like especially with how like, and then you get the punchline of like your parents finally knowing. But at the beginning, it's obviously not fair to Maya to do this, but like Emily still wants to be able to do the things she wants to do that like go along with her. So it shows like Emily's afraid and a little bit like still so weak in that way. So the weakness of being like, well, we could just live double and that's fine. And we could just meet here and that'll work forever.
Yeah.
That she's not strong enough to stand up and even have the conversation. Which obviously from her family, we can understand that that's a huge thing.
Feels almost impossible.
And the other part too that seems very I think to your point of like not trying to diagnose or not to understand who Sarah Shepard is, where she's coming from and approaching this in sexuality. The outing at the swim meet also seems kind of like thought like the worst case scenario sort of thing, like a nightmare scenario that would happen from like the outside. It was a similar sort of like almost like ripped from the headlines kind of thing. Of this is like bullying gone like completely awry.
Yeah. And it doesn't address like the dangers involved in that, because obviously her parents and like the ridicule and stuff like that, but like
the conversion therapy I think is what that's standing in for.
But I think there's a lot more like, in a town like that, like what kind of hate crime, like is Emily going to be the victim of some sort of other like egregious hate crime because of this being outed? And like
we don't see how like
besides like the boys who are like, oh, that's hot.
We don't see Hannah. Other than Hannah, we don't see how like other like girls feel around her, and I guess the friends all kind of being like slightly uncomfortable about it.
Well, but Aria's like, it's okay.
Like that's fine.
Yeah. It's no big deal. Aria's it's no big deal.
Completely.
Which is also like not helpful because it's like it is a big deal for Emily.
Right. But right, since we're moving along so fast and we have to hyper focus on like Emily and her family, we don't see what the wider like ramifications is other than like the boys getting her extra attention at school because of this. Which makes sense. But what does that impact look like when she's stepping out of the house going into town?
Exactly, like throughout the town, like what do other parents say, and like is this town more like it's fiscally conservative, but is it this was the era of fiscally conservative, socially liberal? Like that was the era like of that time. So I'm like, ooh, is that how that town is, or is it more just like straight up like conservative, like Emily's family, and very like you can't be you,
right? Which I assume we'll get more of in the next reading. Since we're we are still halfway through the book, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, who's next?
What do you want to do next?
Let's do Spencer.
Okay, let's go to Spencer.
Spencer is going to therapy with her sister's therapist, which is already not a good idea. Conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
I have red flags about this therapist because she'll talk shit about Melissa to Spencer.
Right, it's way too buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a big red flag to me.
Mm-hmm. That's because that's her other client. It doesn't matter. Like, trying to be,
yeah. Being
I lost my train of thought.
Impartial. I don't know. Like and maybe not. I don't. Once again, I don't much like at this time. I don't really know what the author's experience with therapy is, or what how therapy serves the purpose of the book. Really, is how this will play out.
Well, I think it's probably pretty similar to what we saw from the adaptation. That it's like therapy good, but we don't understand therapy, and we're going to use the stereotypical therapy stuff to kind of drive some things.
Yeah, or like she's just hypnotized.
Immediately jumping into it, right? And there's no consent or like setting up a separate thing, because normally that would be like a think about this, go home. Here, you can learn some things about this, or at least a good therapist. I don't, there could be horror stories.
Well, but also like it's just like, oh, and then she was hypnotized. Like I was like, how?
We keep going back to this hypnotism thing.
Yeah, in the subconscious mind, but they don't want to just call it that. Like if you're just like, oh.
But then we also don't dig into it.
Yeah, and so we get this repressed memory of Spencer's. Well, we start to get it of her fighting with Allie. That's it. The end.
Right.
And Allie's like, you read my diary, and Spencer's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Because we're hinting that Spencer might have done something. Get you to suspect. This is all part of the mystery. Which again, I think if we didn't know the answer, it'd be a little bit more compelling.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, nah.
I think it'd just be really hard for me to believe that one of the 4 girls did it and got away with it. Because like Spencer's parents don't have her back in this. So it's not like Spencer could have done it and gotten away with the crime.
Oh, I see what you mean. There's no like your father covered, like,
yeah, exactly.
Pay the dealer rent.
Exactly. Like there's none of that here. They don't care about her.
No, they don't. Except for her prizes. She getting that golden orchid. Yeah, a lot of this is her spiraling about
plagiarism.
Yes, exactly. Just copying over, which is like.
And then Ian being back in the picture and being like Melissa trying to brag about how much better she was than Spencer, and then Ian's like, "No, you're good at what you do."
And taking her aside.
Well, because he's a coach. So it's like, it's one of those things that's like, obviously Ian is a creep. I'm not defending Ian. But like, it's one of those things where it really shows like the blurred lines of like when you're that age and when you're talking to like an older guy, but they're a position of authority and they're like enmeshing your family in a weird way. And so it's like, it plays with that really well. I think it's a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Makes Ian more interesting, I guess.
Just a little bit. He's more nakedly.
He's not drinking glasses of milk here.
Yeah, he's more nakedly gross to all the friends immediately, and treats Melissa like absolute shit.
Melissa also is like a interesting character in this because she's more buttoned up and more less cool.
Yeah,
she's not cool. She's smart, but she's not cool. In the show, she's cool.
She's way more vindictive. At every turn, like she waits out, she schedules her therapy sessions after Spencer. She goes with Spencer to the therapist's office. She is showing up to Spencer's field hockey practice to like prance around in front of Spencer. It's so petty, and she's what, 22? It's really funny. So at least there's that I think that's at least like she's way more girl boss, and literally getting an MBA to be a girl boss.
Yeah. She's working on it.
Right? She's getting a master's in business?
I think so. It's
Something like
MBA,
that?
or she's going to business school. Okay, then we have...
Oh, the other part that was real funny, that it's like, Spencer, we know the Hastings come from money. Because what was she looking at the house? That it's... it was like a desk that belonged to like someone that worked with like Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, it was like a former, the ring stain from the glass was from a former president.
Yes,
that they'd inherited from their grandma or their aunt or whatever.
I was like, oh yeah, you're money. So we can jump over to Hannah.
Hannah's having a hard time. That's kind of her plot summary the whole time.
Yeah.
Hannah is having friendship issues because she is in trouble with Mona because Mona's playing her like a fiddle.
Unconfirmed at this point.
I think this is like, if I had read it, it would have really pointed it out to me because it's like,
it's really obvious.
Oh, yeah. Like
why is all this stuff about Mona being put in these 8 texts?
You don't get like any of Spencer's friends. You don't get any of anyone else's friends. You only get like things the girls did that they're embarrassed of, and then Hannah gets things about Mona.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why are we getting so much information about Mona?
Mm-hmm. Why does A know information about Mona?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know why they'd know.
Right, exactly. And why are they offering this up on a silver platter?
And it does seem like Hannah's getting the most messages.
Mm-hmm.
Emily got the worst.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah.
But Hannah's getting the constant. Mm-hmm. It's like almost more playful. Like A is having a really fun time with Hannah.
Absolutely.
A is like, Emily, please don't go to the police. I'm going to ruin your life.
Right.
A is like, Hannah, let's play.
Mm-hmm. Not mentioned in my summaries is that Emily was, or I did briefly mention it, but Emily was really the one that was pushing everybody and was like, I'm going to go do this.
She was going to go after school, and then A outed her.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of a weird thing to do, because then it's like, okay, well, like what? I guess the Jenna thing. You
have to really believe that this will now put them in their place.
Mm-hmm.
What else could they do to me?
Yeah.
But it's exactly one of those things where it's like, it could if she was a stronger person, then you would not want to do that, because then now you've thrown the leash off, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hannah is now uninvited from Mona's party. She is no longer in Mona's party court for her 17th birthday. Hannah is talking to Lucas, who used to be cool and cute, and then they use the same plot line from the book.
Mm-hmm.
Or from the in the show.
I don't remember. He used to be cool also.
I don't know, but just the Hermie part, the Allie bullying him, and they haven't called it out as that yet, but Lucas was. Did they take out the hermaphrodite stuff in yours?
It's not at all in my book.
Oh, you know how there's that horrible plot line in the show?
Uh-huh.
I
was like looking at you, and I was about to be like, no.
Yeah, okay. You fill some time while I find it.
Okay. So the big thing with Hannah is that Hannah and Mona are on the outs, and Mona is treating her like absolute crap and stringing her along. So it'll be like Hannah and Mona were planning their things together, but then Hannah gets that call when all the friends are at her house because Wilden called them there to interview them. And so then it's the most annoying trope imaginable, where it's like some minor miscommunication because Hannah goes like, oh, all my old friends are here. And then Mona's like, what? You're hanging out with all your old friends? I hate that stuff. But that happens. So then Mona's like, we're no longer going to be friends. And so it's this back and forth of Hannah trying to get in her good graces, and Mona just like icing her out and finding new reasons to hate her. And it just makes the self-loathing for Hannah go wild. But the reason it connects back to Lucas is he's this dork now who works at the restaurant that like Mona was like stepping out on Hannah with Naomi and Riley. And then so they all bounce and leave Hannah with the check, which is so mean, but like so perfect. And especially when it's all like rich girls. Which chapter?
Is it Court Life? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I found it. Never mind. I'm the chapter.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing at least in my book that we get is that he was a dork, and then all of a sudden everybody started like making fun of him. Like there was no reason essentially given. It's just like all of a sudden like people stopped hating him, and Hannah didn't like quite understand what happened there.
Okay. So she'd known Lucas Beatty forever. In 7th grade, he'd been popular, and bizarrely, for a second, he'd liked Hannah. Word had gotten around that Lucas was going to send Hannah a red heart-shaped box of candies on the school-wide candy day. A boy sending you a heart-shaped box of candy meant love, so Hannah got really excited.
This is all the same so far.
But then, a few days before candy day, something changed. Lucas was suddenly a dork. His friends started to ignore him, girls began to laugh at him, and a rampant rumor that he was a hermaphrodite swirled.
Oh,
Hannah
yeah, that's not in there at all.
Hannah couldn't believe her luck. But secretly, she wondered if he'd gone from popular to loser because he'd decided to like her. And so my assumption is much like with the show, it's Allie who did this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, spread some sort of rumor. And that makes it seem much more likely. So, like in my book, the new version, I should say, I'm reading, which is the 2021 republished one with it was in time for Original Sin. It's got like the silhouettes, part of that same thing. And I don't know if you hadn't listened to the other ones. These books are different from the original published version. Sarah Shepard went back through and like updated references and things like that, and took out problematic things. You don't get the same idea that Lucas being unpopular was a result from Hannah, but that actually does make it seem much more likely that Allie went after Lucas because he did like Hannah.
Yes. Yeah.
It makes it seem way more like, in my book, I'm like, it's like, oh, Hannah just is self-loathing.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's just not popular anymore.
Uh-huh.
No.
It's like, oh, there was no cause. It's like, there was
definitely a cause.
Uh-huh.
And I appreciate removing plot lines like that. Like, I think that is unnecessary per se.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think filling it in with saying like he picked his nose, you know what I mean? Like, you could have put any other reason, like any other rumor.
A rumor that he
to give you that full thing. Because yeah, I mean, obviously
you could have even done like, there was a rumor that he was like, you could have done, there was a rumor spread around that he was gay, and that gives you like the similar sort of vibe that people would go after him because he was different. Hermaphrodite is like intentionally trying to be like derogatory.
Yeah, and it's just not.
Whereas like we would now have a different understanding of like gay or something like that, where that's like an accepted part of being, and like kids are mean.
Yes, or even just like, oh, Lucas's parents aren't married. You know what I mean? Like, you could literally like this.
That doesn't work in this book.
Yeah, true. There could have been like any sort of insult, but. Yeah. I was like, wow, they really like I mean, it makes sense the show didn't come up with that one on their own, but
just ripped it right from it. Hannah also, we get much more of an idea that she really took Allison's place of being a bully. We get a lot more of her. It's like, oh, like being mean to people in the past, or like I said this about this person and put them in their place, or I said this to like Naomi and Riley. Like she says something to Naomi and Riley to like shut them up. Whatever the inverted nipples line is.
Oh yeah. Well, at least I don't have inverted nipples. And then she's like, it's because of my bra.
Yeah. So we just get that she's much more mean.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of this is her just chasing Mona around, and Mona being like, no, I hate you. I was like, it's fine. But again, it could just be gone. And be fine.
Would be slightly about the same.
Yeah, and she's mad at Aria for dating Sean.
Oh yes, and that's in class when she's like, she makes her little reference, and Aria's like, "You told me you broke up with him. Everyone told me you broke up with him.
Yep.
Why are you so mad at me?" Drama.
Yeah.
So now we just have Aria?
Yep. Oh, and we'll actually wrap back around. Maybe we can do it before Aria actually is. Emily's parents. The part of that I think is actually well done there. That they like think about what you're doing to this family.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, that. I was trying to figure out what you were like, where you were going.
Yeah. When they bring her in with the conversion therapy counselor there.
It's all about the family image. It's all about how we come across and how you make us look.
Right. And also her sister's upset. Her other brothers and sisters that are in college called to come home. Like this is a whole thing of just like the entire family is wound up to be like repressive toward Emily, and that are
codependent.
Yes. And that seems to have kind of stemmed directly from the parents who are like that. That's like, you are embodiments of us going out into the world, and whatever you do will look badly on our family, which is their like very lack mindset of being only like upper middle instead of like Hastings rich. And you're
really good at deep diving into this part.
Yeah, exactly. And then the symbolism too of Emily recalls that they used to play pillow game, which is just they would beat the shit at each other with pillows. This is like her and the friends. It sounded fucking awful. I will find actually what specifically pillow game was, but then also her looking at her mom fluffing the pillow till like feathers come out, like of just absolutely beating it. And it's the same thing. We're also pulling in the like pillows reference, like are also a reference to like your bedroom, like intimacy, which is like her sexuality coming from, and everybody telling her to like stuff it down. So I thought that part was good.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the pillow game thing. It's just like that is like 100% a kid's thing. It's just like Jesus Christ.
You're just gonna bonk each other with some pillows.
It's let me see if I can find it. But it was the same feeling she used to get when her old friends, meaning Aria, Spencer, Allie, played pillow game. One person walked around the living room blindfolded, and at a random moment, the others bombarded her with pillows. Emily didn't like playing. She hated those tense moments right before they started smacking her, but she always played anyway because Allie loved it.
Yeah. The blindfold is how I would have remembered it. So I mean, like, the pillow matters, obviously. It's your weapon.
Maybe think of, like, Full Metal Jacket.
It's like sock and boppers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Vibes. But if your friends blindfolded you and then, like, surprised you at a random moment.
We should get sock and boppers. Do they still make those?
They have to. Way more fun than the pillow fight.
More fun than a pillow fight.
Sock and boppers. I mean, come on.
Sock and boppers. Yeah, that was a bop.
All you Gen Z people and what's under Gen Z?
I think
what's
it's Gen
the new
Alpha?
One? Gen Alpha. You got sock and boppers? Let us know.
Hey kid, you got some sock and boppers.
Why did I
start calling you
exactly.
Ian?
hey kids.
Aria. What do you mean?
Transition.
Oh, I was like.
And cut.
Aria.
Just think of it as like it's just a wipe.
New scene. Aria. Let's see here. Aria has a boyfriend.
Yep. And Fitz is being weird in the back. Awkwardly hugging her in class.
Yeah.
Don't hug your teachers.
I mean, I don't really think that's the message.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe.
No, it's all setting up that she's like, oh,
there's still something there.
And he understands me way more than the buttered toast boyfriend that I have now.
Well, or when she's like, I want to explain to him that we get more in Aria's head than anyone else, I think, because she's like slightly more self-aware.
Right.
So she's like,
Emily's, we get it all, but it's mostly like
she doesn't know what's going on either.
No, she's like, it's fine. I'm just won't think about it. Or when the leaves change, that means that.
Yeah, we really understand OCD through Emily. Yep. Aria, we get like. She's like, oh, I want to explain to Ezra that like Sean's not like other boys, and so he's different and he's more interesting and unique. And then she's like, but I don't have to. And I'm like, atta babe. I get so proud of her, and then she takes like 17 steps right back down. She slides down the hill on her butt.
But I like that she had a goth face. She's like, yeah, I used to just hang around in cemeteries. Isn't it fun, Sean? And Sean being like, good God, no.
Also, she had her goth phase in like 6th grade then.
And then Sean, he really should have given her a warning too. It's like, I thought you knew that like Allie's grave was dug
here.
up.
Well, just that it was there. I think she didn't know where it was.
Right.
She did because it was the old cemetery.
And he's all freaked out that she's bringing her through the graveyard. I will say that while there's the most I think to get out of Emily's storyline, I did enjoy all the Sean stuff.
And also like Aria and the Scarlet Letter and which is so
that everybody's like, you misunderstood this.
But also what's great is like the A concept, because it's the A for adulterer and it's A in Pretty Little Lies, and it's just like I was like, that's fun.
That is fun.
Miss Shepherd, you had a good day.
The Scarlet Letter stuff, it's like I didn't get far enough to read about that. We weren't supposed to like condemn this woman. And Aria's like, yeah, get her.
Yes. Yeah. And that the idea that like Aria, who's like accepting and open-minded, is like really shaming this woman. It's like, once again, that cognitive dissonance that comes into play when it's you.
Absolutely.
And like, she's like, okay, this woman is horrible. This woman is this. Whereas like, I think in other situations, she would be like defending this individual. So she's fighting with the idea that like Meredith is really cool.
Right. And I don't think she's fighting with this idea. And I don't know if she has the understanding outward of understanding women's autonomy in these sorts of situations. I think that's still her wrestling with the fact, or like more misogynistic feelings around like women's sexuality and adultery and things like that. Yeah, and who's to blame?
She's blaming the woman for like seducing her father away. Whereas when my father had an affair, I blamed him.
Yeah. And she's like, but I need my family together over everything.
We changed the locks.
Right. And not that anything for Aria would change if her father was back in the house.
No, he's useless.
And her mom's useless too. Aria's like, I'll just go sleep somewhere else then. And Ella's like, cool, thanks.
I can't look at you.
It'd be so much nicer, actually, if you slept somewhere else. Horrible.
It's awful.
Yeah, again, the parents across all these are real winners.
And then we got Michelangelo.
Although Hannah's parents across these are just non-existent. We don't get any touch points other than Tom is no longer talking to her.
Yeah, and then her mom is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey," and then that's it.
But sorry, you were saying Michelangelo.
No, I was just saying Michelangelo. Like, of course he turns out the way he does. He's not being parented.
No,
he's being parented by Noel Kahn.
He's like, Noel's the coolest. I'm gonna act like him. And it seemed earlier. He's like, I got all these rough feelings. I'm gonna go take it out on the lacrosse. And I'm just gonna get it all out there. But now
you played lacrosse. Do you think it's a stress relieving activity?
Yeah, it could be. I think physical activity in general, you know.
I just can't, like, I feel like if I was angry, I wouldn't be good at like a ball sport.
It's really satisfying to whip it out of your lacrosse stick.
Okay. See, but I never played a ball sport where you caught it. Does that make sense? I didn't play ball sports. I don't know why I'm like acting. I'm like, back in my soccer days, like, no.
Right. And in this case, like, he was just like playing by himself. So he's just like picking up a ball and throwing it in the net. And that's really fun.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Like kicking a soccer ball into the net.
Exactly.
I can't do that either.
It's really satisfying. But then also imagine, like in tennis when we play sometimes, that when you get like that really good feeling across like the tennis racket if you get a good hit. Like imagine that, but like you're chucking a ball out of the net. So it's like, yeah, it feels good.
Okay, I was just curious. As a resident lacrosse expert.
Wait, you need a better lacrosse player.
That was the funniest thing that when I told my mom about you when we first started dating. I was like, he played lacrosse in high school, and she was like, "Huh? They do that on this side?"
Right. It's so funny. So.
And the only person I knew that played lacrosse in high school was this kid who went to school in another town, and then he played on a team that was not part of his school. Like he was part of a club lacrosse team, and he was the wealthiest person I'd ever met. Like he looked like his life looked like the Hastings. Like it was like, oh.
So the schools that had the best lacrosse teams in my area were like the really rich schools that had them for multiple years. Now also those teams would have like exhibition games with teams from the East Coast and just get their shit kicked in. Like they like were, it was absolutely so different, the game across the states. But then
does it happen at all in the middle of the country?
No idea.
Lacrosse, coastal elite only?
I think so.
Probably.
I really do think that's a strong point. Even though there was like more places, there was like a decent amount of schools. There's probably like a dozen schools that were in our league.
Yeah, but you were in San Diego.
So there was
that obviously very cheap place to live.
That's right. And you could tell the new programs because so our program was like 2 years old by the time like I joined high school. It was very ragtag. Like we had to buy our own equipment. So that's already
it's your
prohibitive.
Mighty Ducks era.
Yes. But imagine
unlike the Mighty Ducks, you don't win.
Imagine you don't have Emilio Estevez. You have a rotating ring of like incompetent coaches. So it's more like Bad News Bears if it was like a little bit more realistic. The first coach, we didn't have I don't think the first year there was a JV and a varsity. I think it was just one lacrosse team. And the coach for that, like we'd all say like he had roid rage because he would lose his shit and everybody was afraid of him. And so he would be like, all right, we're going to do like these drills. Let's get like 18 guys out there, right? Or like, 12 guys out there because you're playing on one side of the field. And it'd be like, we need, obviously 6 offense, 6 defense. sometimes people wouldn't run out because they didn't know like whether or not to run out, and he'd just start screaming, like just start yelling, like, "We need more guys out there! Like we need more guys!" And he'd scream, and then he'd make us all go run if nobody like stepped out, like that sort of thing. Like he threw his stick into the stands. I remember at a practice, there was a kid that was coming off the field, and like he was pissed at him for something. Poor guy was kind of like a punching bag too. Just like one of those kids. Like people were like, he wasn't like low on the totem pole, but enough that other people like made fun of him. And he grabbed him by the jersey and yanked him off the field in a game. Like he picked him up and threw him to the sidelines.
And he still had a job?
Well, not after the first year.
It was like that man needed to go.
And so we did have like, I don't want to like completely mischaracterize like all our lacrosse coaches. I had one lacrosse coach. He was like really great guy. He actually like had to run for office in San Diego, I remember a few years ago. Really nice dude, and like was always like, oh, like I'll help you like practice after. Like did like weekend practice with me one time to like help get better and stuff like that. Really, really nice, like communicative.
Was that your idea or your parents?
Oh, my parents, absolutely. I back up too for like sports. I liked playing games. I didn't like practice. I like playing games. This is like I like playing video games. I like playing board games. I didn't want to go practice. I didn't like sports.
My favorite thing about dance was class.
Yeah, I think
I loved recitals. Don't
I think
get me wrong,
other people that are good at sports and like sports, it's like it's usually because it's like, yeah, I want to go, play basketball. It's like I want to go shoot hoops and practice dribbling on like Saturdays or something. It's like I don't want to do that.
You're like, no, thank you.
Why would I do that? I'll just go winging it like every other week. We practice enough, especially during the cross season. Well, I didn't work out in the off season. I was. If this is painting a picture of someone that was like not the best on the field, like, that's this guy. And so I would always like.
You're really ruining our credentials for our resident in-house lacrosse expert.
Well, I understand lacrosse. I didn't want to participate.
You understood it was a lot of work and you were not interested in doing it.
Exactly. Story of my life. And so I would, during the winter months, like before, because lacrosse started in spring, I wouldn't work out in the off season. What am I going to do? I'm going to go lift. Oh, okay. I'm going to go to the gym. And then so I'd like tell my friends, I'd be like, see this gut? It's going to be gone by spring.
Now I make you exercise.
Yeah. I'm like, lift and do things like that. I do like a cross camp over summer because my parents kind of made me. Like, if you want to get better, it's like, well, I guess so.
You're like, not really.
Yeah. They just wanted me to be involved in something. And I was like, when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to be an actor. I hated musicals. It's like, in 8th grade, I was going to join for the Wizard of Oz play, or I could go play lacrosse. And I'm like, I'll try out lacrosse.
Literally, you just were driven away by music. I love musicals. That was my favorite ones we did. Like a regular play is fine, but like when I was in drama, like I lived for the musicals.
Yeah,
I couldn't sing very well, but I could dance.
I was like watching movies, and I'm like, I want to be one of those people, but without having to do the music man.
When they ask me everything I've done, I am saying Shakespeare, and I am saying nothing with music.
Pretty much. I don't even think I was on there. I had no conception of how this worked. But which is very funny. They had even so I remember the person who ran the plays, our director, her son like ran up to me like one time when I'd said like I'm like I'm not actually not going to do it. She's like, oh, she like we have like a part for you, like be able to do it. I'm like, nah, it's fine. My parents just wanted me involved in something, so I'm like, well, I guess I can do lacrosse.
So. Yeah, I didn't have that issue. But long story short, it's nice to throw the ball into the net.
It is.
Feel good. Good stress relief.
But yeah.
I was just wondering.
Much like, other lacrosse players and boys of my age and myself at that age, we were very misogynistic.
Mm-hmm. This was the
We
time.
hate to see it for Michelangelo, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we hoped better for him.
We get the being a dumb, stupid boy and overcompensating around Spencer and things, but we have to draw the line at him being like, oh, cool, Emily's cool now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that was the time and is in many ways still the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Michelangelo. until you grow up.
Out the door.
That was me taking your license away.
Oh. His himbo license?
Yeah. Sean.
I was like, oh, he's got an idea.
Yeah, I like Aria going to Sean's family, and it's this very pristine home, and it's like, wow, this is so nice. Like, they're so caring.
There's
and
organization.
loving, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate this all. She's like, this is so nice, I guess.
They want me to make the bed in the morning?
Mm-hmm. Right? Because and that's the best part where she like takes Sean to the cemetery, and it's like, well, he doesn't like coming to the cemetery. Like, what the hell is this? And it's like, and he's defending his stepmom for making me make the bed, and what the hell is that about?
Mm-hmm.
And he wants us to make up a couples game, completely earnest, and I would never be caught dead doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't like this.
Yeah, her not like any girl's era really makes Sean very hard to be with.
Mm-hmm. Because he's the popular guy. He's a nice dude, kind of. He's got his.
Is he, or is he the creep that's looking through people's windows?
Seems like he is. Because why the hell else would Aria open up his bedroom door and he not be there? And then the story is all about, hey, there's a stalker on the loose. Mm. Oh, the other thing that I thought that really points out who A is I think is it Emily that looks across and sees someone with binoculars? It's like there's a blonde with binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is blonde?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people, yes, but
yes,
you can narrow down your character.
But I'm assuming they want us to think it's Spencer because Spencer's blonde in this.
Mm-hmm. But there's other blondes.
Mm-hmm.
A whole lot of them. Take your pick.
Okay. What other thoughts do you have on this?
I don't think it's just anything else with Han's family, but I do like Aria. Just it gives you good reason for Aria being like, I just don't. This guy's nice, but I don't know. I don't think there's anything else really. Well, should we do some quick reference comparisons?
Yeah.
So, for reference, my version of the books, if you haven't kept up with our other ones, these new versions have all the changes. They have updated references and things. Emily has the old versions that came out, and this one came out in 2007. So, they've gone through and really changed and upgraded things. And not upgraded, they just changed things. So do you have one to pick out here? Well,
first and foremost, the girls are drinking cherry vanilla diet Dr. Pepper, which really put me in the scene for the era. Like, because that was at that time. And to this day, I don't know, I haven't had one in probably like a decade. The best version, besides like a classic Dr. Pepper, is a diet cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper, because a cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper is too sweet. And I like the taste of aspartame, which I believe is in like every diet soda known to man.
Right. So having
which is probably not like a thing that you should be consuming. I don't know. I
mean, you're probably fine. Not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get like kidney stones.
Exactly. But anyway, so that was my first highlight. Another is during the Aria in the flashback scene that we start with. We have Allison telling Spencer that she's going to have her own show. She'll be the cuter, smarter Paris Hilton.
Kendall Jenner.
Kendall Jenner.
Yeah, I remember you pointing this out. Oh, do you have one for 2 pages after this?
I have the Town and Country photo shoot. I just wanted to know if it was a Town and Country photo shoot in yours, because yes. Town and Country, I didn't know if that was still a thing.
Town and Country comes up twice.
Is it the Johnny Depp one? Is it admitting that Johnny Depp wasn't really cute, that he was actually kind of old and creepy?
Why did they change it in this? Who do you think they changed it to? It's not someone that you would think is old and creepy, or is creepy.
But are they old? Orlando Bloom.
No, but I
was thinking like same franchise.
They're like a similar sort of. This is gonna sound funny. A similar sort of pretty boy aesthetic. I would think you could jump from Orlando Bloom from someone who is in movies now that people would really know. Like big franchise movies now.
I have no clue.
I think they're probably actually about the same age.
Daniel Radcliffe.
No.
Good, because
lighter hair, blonde hair.
blonde.
Yeah.
Chris.
I know this is really hard.
Which one of the Chris's? The one that's Captain America. Oh my God, what's his name? Oh, Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm like,
they defamed Chris Hemsworth like that?
Yes.
Chris Hemsworth?
Uh-huh.
The best of the Hemsworths?
That was like one of my first. I put Chris Hemsworth, old and creepy, question mark, question mark, question mark.
That's the rudest thing I've ever read.
Uh-huh. Fucked up.
I apologize for even bringing it up, Chris. To you, we're sorry.
Sarah Shepard, you're on notice.
I have another one from Spencer's Hard Work Pays Off. It wasn't going to her worst enemy's therapist, like going to an ugly girl's plastic surgeon.
This is when she goes off being mean, and they strip most of that away in mine.
I also have in chapter 2, just another section.
I was gonna say, just to elucidate, she like goes on like other things of like really meanly comparing people.
Oh yeah. I also get this. Spencer feared she'd probably come out of her very first shrink session with the mental health equivalent of hideously lopsided fake boobs.
Yeah, all that is like scraped away. In mine, it's like you're as if you got like recommended from your cousin with bad fashion sense.
Mine is cutthroat.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this when you read that part too, that it's Spencer's mean. So like I get like writing that like now isn't like great, but that would make sense for a character to like Spencer to like be extremely like judgmental.
And I think in arts, movies, television, books, like if you have a character who is bad, they should say bad things. There are certain bad things that you just don't fucking say. There are certain words you just don't use. There are certain comparisons you just don't use. But I don't think these cross that line. No. And especially not of that time.
No, not at all.
I mean, obviously it was printed in here. Like it was this, and this was not, like we act like it was a long time ago, but like it was when we were in high school, it was like 15 years ago.
We were misogynistic as a culture.
Yeah, and our culture still is. We just pretend we're not.
Right, yes.
Long story short, I think they should have left it in.
Yeah, totally.
Because I think Spencer, that's something Spencer would say.
Yeah,
and it
doesn't cross that line.
We also have, in just another sexually charged day in AP English, we have when they're talking about other stories where a character was outcast. I think it's Noel who says, how about that episode of The Real World where the housemates voted for the psycho girl to leave?
Oh, right. And then mine was, where is it? It's super weird. Oh, it's, how about that English baking show where people get kicked off for not making perfect cakes?
The Great British Baking Show or the Great British Bake Off, depending on what you watch it on. It's an excellent television. It is very kind.
It's just super weird. It doesn't make
old versions. I only watch the Mary Berry ones.
It doesn't
work.
Line at all.
We also have soon the class is going to do a Desperate Housewives style interpretation of Medea, but yours was
Real Housewives.
Which is different because like Desperate Housewives was fiction.
So it's, I guess they're making it more soap? Someone dead? With this, I got actually a better idea with the new update of like what it would be like. That it's like, oh, you have like talking heads and people all like.
But in this one, because it's a Greek play where a mother murders her children, so Desperate Housewives style.
Okay.
In chapter 5, we have Aria where she says she still felt like a punked out faux leather wearing free thinking Bratz doll in a sea of pretty princesses of preppy land Barbies.
Oh man.
That was a mouthful.
Funko Pop. Free thinking Funko Pop. My God.
The other thing was, I think, Emily, when she's like talking about what they'd be called if they all got caught in chapter 7, it says the psycho blinders or whatever they'd inevitably be called on TV. I didn't know what yours was, if it was the same.
Where is this at?
It's in chapter 7, and it's Emily made a small whimper. Hannah eyed her suspiciously. All Emily talked about lately was how guilty she felt about Toby. What if she wanted to tell Wilden? Oh, so I guess it's a Hannah chapter. Wilden that they were responsible for his death and Jenna's accident. Hannah might have taken the rap for the Jenna thing weeks ago when she had nothing to live for, but now there is no way in hell she would confess. Her life was finally back to normal, and she was in no mood to be known as one of the psycho blinders or whatever they'd inevitably be called on TV.
Yeah, psycho blinders is the same as mine.
Those are all of mine. Did you have any others?
Let me see. Oh, Taylor Swift in Chapter 6. Age. I heard Taylor Swift won a golden orchid when she was in high school.
I heard John Mayer won a golden
John
orchid
Mayer!
when he was in high school.
That's much better.
They replaced John Mayer with Taylor
Swift.
That feels pretty good.
I'm all right with that one.
Me too.
That seems. Is she in the know? Maybe.
That seems intentional.
Yeah.
That's got to be intentional.
It has to be.
It was like an essay for AP Music Theory.
Oh, in chapter 14, they talk about the Masked Singer a bunch.
Oh.
Do you know what show that Melissa pretends to like? And that Emily, they like, oh, Emily, like, or not Emily, Spencer does watch it. Wait, is it chapter 14?
Yeah, American Idol.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy there. We just swap out reality shows.
The SAT scores the same. She got a 2350 in her PSATs this year. It's a couple pages later. Spencer doesn't watch American Idol.
1490. So
they changed the SATs to match the new scoring.
Love it. Because otherwise you'd be like, huh?
That's so funny.
Yeah. I mean, gotta make sense.
People don't even have to take the SATs anymore.
Oh, man, what a time. Well, that was a rousing rendition of references. We got some really good nuggets in there.
We did get some good ones.
So, but I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
So you can find this podcast on all your podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. You can also find this on YouTube at dead_ends. I just lost my train of thought. Give us, we would love, 5 stars. Give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends. We're a humble little podcast. We don't do any advertising or anything. So appreciate any positive word of mouth and positive reviews. And over on other not Disney, Jesus Christ. It is related to Disney on my channel Burger Discourse. You can find us playing Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. Yes. We just finished the Sora route. And we are almost done with the game, I think.
Thank God.
Yeah. Been a long time coming. But, and then I think for the next game, we might take a break from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Try something new.
Yeah. My what people have referred to as a Stone Cold Classic. I have not played it.
Ooh.
But anywho, until next time, we are still here. And
we'll keep reading.
We're going to read everything.
Are we?
Well, AMPTP, make a deal.
Yeah.
Make a good deal.
Please.
Because
I'm cracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the call for the AMT. Well, you know what? Out of solidarity, though, we are going to read these books front to back. We are not here to back down. We will not give into your intimidation tactics, AMPTP, no matter how much we are unenthused by these books. We want a fair deal.
Do you think they intentionally made these bad so that we would cave?
No, but they're they're gonna cave. They're gonna start watching the show again. No, we're not. Unless you make that deal with the actors. Man, it better be a good one. Assholes, you're working in a Buffalo Wild Wings.
I'm sure they're
down wherever it is.
Very afraid of you.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking stern into the camera so they know that I mean business. You deal with Fran. You make sure that she gets a good deal. Solidarity to strikers. We will keep reading these books. I'll keep reading these books. I don't mind. But anyway. Bye.